Hey there, this is William Cunningham of My Hope in Marriage. You can call me Reggie, my middle name. You can visit online at www.myhopeinmarriage.com. This video is for the guys. I have gotten so many emails and comments over the years, over the last couple, 3-4 years, of guys really complaining. I can't say complaining or expressing their despair for their really bad marriages. You know, their wives reject them. They feel their wife doesn't want them anymore. The wife would rather be with the kids, that type of thing. So this video is for those guys. You know, guys who've been married for 10, 20 years plus years, who are frustrated because their wives seem to have checked out of the marriage. And to be fair, this is not a guy thing, exclusively a guy thing, because there are some women who suffer as well. I got a really nice email from, or actually it was a comment from a woman who basically said, hey, this happens to women too, where their husbands reject them. They're trying to be intimate with the husband and he's off somewhere else. Okay, so this is for the guys. I can speak freely from a guy's perspective because I'm a guy. All right. Now, this is about a relationship that's been going on for years where the guy is unhappy and he feels as though his wife doesn't love him, has checked out of the relationship. Intimacy is almost nil. Sex is just about not to be found. And he's frustrated because ultimately he wants his wife, but it appears that his wife doesn't want him. And he's frustrated, he's upset, doesn't know what to do. Some cases the guy's just like, I want to check out of this marriage, blah, blah, blah. All right, so this is that type of relationship. So what can you do? What can you do when you find yourself in this type of really unhappy marriage relationship? All right, the first thing you do, you want to make sure you can check all the boxes. You want to make sure that your conscience is clear. And so you want to ask yourself, have I done anything to contribute to the state of the marriage? Did I play a part? Maybe my wife is responding to something I'm doing over the years. All right. You just don't want to outright and just blame her for everything because she's a human being. She may be responding to you. So you want to ask yourself, have I done anything? Evaluate your own self over the years in your marriage and see, well, I probably could have done better here. I probably could have been this. You know, what does she want? What does she like? That type of stuff. All right. So you want to ask yourself if you contributed to the problem. And if so, you want to start working on fixing it. Okay. Jesus said that first cast out the beam in your own eye, then you can cast out the little speck in somebody else's. So you want to make sure there's no beam in your eye so you can see clearly to identify issues that come from your wife. All right. All right. So you want to make sure you're communicating your thoughts, your feelings, what you think about the marriage, about her. You want to make sure that's out in the open. You don't want to shock her one day and say, look, I'm moving out. And she's like, well, why? She has no idea that there was a problem. And I found, and I'm going to say this because this is from my observations, and that is this, that sometimes women are clueless. I believe men know a lot more about women's psyche than women know of men. Because that's what our society teaches. Our society teaches the men, don't forget her birthday, don't forget your anniversaries, blah, blah, blah. But they don't teach the women about that. Women just think men want sex and eat. You know, they just need to be able to have sex and eat. But yet you get married and you don't give them the sex. It doesn't make any sense. All right, but anyway, I don't want to get into that. So you want to communicate your thoughts because she may be totally unaware that there's a problem. All right, unless you got to say something. Like my wife would say something. I say, well, and I would say, well, did you say anything? You never told me that. All right. All right. So communicate. Sometimes you have to communicate difficult topics, but you got to do it. Find a way to do it, but you got to do it. All right. Pray and ask God for wisdom. God is not going to magically fix your marriage, but you want to pray and ask God for wisdom, how to deal with this. What can you do? Because he's not going to overpower your will. It will be cool if you can say, God, make my wife see. And God says, ugh. And all of a sudden she sees and she's in love with you and all that kind of stuff. It's not going to happen like that. All right, he's not going to overpower her will or yours. All right, but you still want to pray for wisdom because you need wisdom, because opportunities may come here and there, and you want to be able to take advantage of those. Okay, you might want to you ask yourself, and I'm saying this because you're probably thinking about it, and I want to just bring it out. Did I marry the right person? Should I have married her? Don't worry about that. You're married. Okay, now I do believe that getting or falling in love with someone is not a good reason to marry them. All right. Even though you expect to love the person you marry. But just because you fell in love doesn't mean you should be married. But a lot of people believe that I'm going to marry him because I fell in love with him. Or I want to marry her because I fell in love with her. That's you have to know the person or as much about that person as you can to make a decision if you want to share your life with that person, with her. All right. So you're going to ask yourself if you married the right person. Don't even worry about that. It's a done deal. You did it. Now you just want to not worry, but you want to work on making it work. Because there are some people who get married, they're just slammed together in a culture where marriages are arranged. But they just don't pick two people. Each family researches and checks out each other, and determines that she's right for him. And they put them together. All right. So they're getting to know each other for the first time, maybe even days before the marriage. But there was a lot of work into checking compatibility and so forth and so on. So don't worry about maybe I married the wrong person. Just work on making what you have now work. It starts with one. It takes two to tango, but only one to get it started. All right. So now once you've done all these things, you can check out all these boxes and you can say my conscience is clear. Whatever you decide to do now, you can say my conscience is clear. I was objective. I tried. I learned. I read His Needs, Her Needs. A good book. You should read it. I learned about the 5 love language. I tried holding the door and giving flowers and all this kind of stuff, but it didn't work. So my conscience is clear. I'm going to do this from now on. And let's talk about those things. Okay? You want to cut back on your benevolence, or maybe even your chivalry or gallantry, rather. For example, I know like in a lot of church marriage ministries, they tell the husband should hold the door for his wife and go around and open the door for her. And, if you go sit down in a restaurant, hold her, push her seat in and all this stuff. And I often wonder, well, what does a woman do for the guy? He's probably paying for the meal, if you're dating. Well, we're not talking about dating, but, before you get married, you do all this stuff. After you get married, well, what do I get? You know what I'm saying? And that's why guys expect a little something later sometimes. But I don't want to get into that. But you want to cut back on that benevolence, especially in these times in Asia where women are like, we don't need a man and we're equal. Well, they're not. But at the same time, you can hold your own door. In politeness, if you're, with me, yeah, I might hold the door you can go through. But I might do that for anybody. So you might want to cut back on going overboard for that kind of stuff. Just treat her with respect and kindness, but you don't have to go overboard with the gallantry and so forth, right? And romance. You pass her in the kitchen and normally you might try to grab her or slap her butt or something like that. Well, maybe cut that out because it doesn't produce anything, right? All right. Okay. Stop feeling as though you need her. Stop desiring her so much because it doesn't produce anything. She's off somewhere else. She's rejecting you, at least from your perspective. So why do you keep when does a dog learn not to go back to its own vomit? Why do you keep going back to something that keeps giving you pain? All right, stop it. All right, not that I'm not saying have in your mind that I don't need you, even though you really don't. It's not good for you. It's good for you to have a wife. God said it's good. It's not good for a man to be alone, but you don't have to have in your mindset that your life depends on her. All right. You shouldn't be that with anybody. Your life doesn't depend on anybody except you, unless they're holding you up from a cliff. All right. So you want to cut back on that. If you're roommates, be roommates. If you're, co-workers in Household Incorporated, be that. Stop trying to be what your relationship is not. But work at getting your relationship to where it should be. You understand what I'm saying? If you're a new boxer, be a new boxer, but learn to get better. Don't start doing stuff like you, some experienced guy, like a boxer, real professional, experienced boxer might be maybe showboating a little bit. Don't you come out in your first fight and just start showboating. You're going to get knocked out. All right, so stop making your marriage what it is not. Scale back on stuff. Be what your marriage is, but keep in the back of your mind that I want it to be better. All right. Reduce the pursuit of something you don't have. You want to pursue your wife. You want that intimacy. You want that emotional connection, but she's not given to you for 10, 20 years. Look, you got to stop doing that, man. It's not going to produce anything but more pain. All right. Stop it. All right. Be roommates if you're roommates, and then work to get better. All right. Here's a very important thing. Here's what you should do no matter what else. Pursue what you enjoy. Pursue those things that make you happy. Whether it be woodworking, new languages, even if it's a new career, whatever. What do you enjoy? Pursue it. Regardless of, it's not dependent on your wife. Do it. All right? Do it. What do you think right now? What are some of the things that you like to be able to do that would make you fulfilled? Well, start working on it. Maybe you can't do it tomorrow, but start working on it and enjoy the journey. Stop trying to enjoy something, your marriage, that just is miserable. Make yourself happy first. Now you can have the energy to work more on your marriage. You understand? Do what you enjoy. Do what you enjoy. Do what makes you happy. You are responsible for your happiness, not your wife. For whatever reason, your wife is checked out of the marriage and she's left you hanging dry. All right? Don't let that get you down. Bring yourself up. Stop relying on her to bring you up. If she's not there, she's not there. Don't pretend. What can you do to bring yourself up? What can you do to enjoy your life with or without her? And I say that because some guys decide to get divorced. So you want to enjoy your life. Some guys decide to stay. So they live in the same house with their wife, but they're not together at all. They're not one. All right. But you still want to enjoy your life. I'm going to meet my responsibilities, make sure the lights are on, the mortgage is paid or whatever, and that type of thing. The kids got food to eat and so forth and so on. But I'm going to enjoy my life. If you're not with me, you're just not with me. That's unfortunate for a marriage. It shouldn't be like that for a marriage. But if it is like that, you got to live in the reality. That's the way your marriage is. That's how I'm going to treat it. In the back of my mind, I'm always going to be scanning for opportunities to segue into doing something to make it better. But if she's not into it, you're wasting your time. All right. So you make yourself happy, man. Improve yourself. Bring more value to yourself. What can you do that would give more value to you? Give more value to maybe the company that you work for, the business that you own. What can you do to give yourself more value? Rather is getting a degree, learning a particular skill, or business philosophy, or whatever the case may be. What can you do so you're like, look at me, I did it. I got that certification. You do it, man. You do it. Make yourself happy with yourself. Stop relying on your wife who's not with you. All right. And just for the sake of argument, wives, start relying on the husband who's not with you. But again, we're talking from the man's perspective because I know that perspective. All right. Some guys decide to do separation. That's one thing they do. They decide to separate from their wives. That should be done with in conjunction with or the observation of a professional like marriage counselor or something. They're going to be the ones that's going to oversee that. Because the idea of the separation is for you to clear your minds, get a good perspective of things, and come back together to work on the marriage. Not to come back together, oh, I love you now. No. That's not the expectation. To come back together, yes, we can make this work, babe. All right, that's what you want after a separation, however long that is. Some guys decide to get divorced, even though most divorces are initiated by women, which is interesting. 80% of divorces are initiated by women. Men tend to want to stick it out. and for some other reason, because most men know divorce is not a favorable option for them financially, because they could lose a lot, even their children, access to their children, because of our crazy society. We have a dopey society. Don't get me started. All right. So those are some things that guys can do. And number one is, of course, evaluate yourself. Make sure you're not part of the problem. If you are, fix it. You can easily fix you. All right. Barring all that, you've checked all the boxes. Your conscience is clear. Hey, go for yourself, man. Improve yourself. Not diss your wife, but improve yourself. Make yourself more valuable. Do the things that you enjoy doing. You know what I mean? Make yourself happy. And, keep in the back of your mind, you want your marriage to work and be ready for opportunities where you can work on that. And perhaps one day things will get gradually better and better and better where the two can become one. But if not, or in the meantime, work on you. You work on your own happiness. Don't expect your wife to make you happy. And wives, don't expect your husband to make you happy. Yeah, they might make you feel more secure. They might make you feel more loved. But love yourself first. The Bible says love your neighbor as yourself. Well, first you got to love yourself to love your neighbor. So love yourself. Love yourself, man. Self-love. Be happy with you. All right. So that's just something I wanted to say for the guys. Look, you are a valuable human being. Your wife doesn't appreciate you. She may not seem to want to be with you, or whatever the case may be. She's taking you for granted, got married for perhaps ulterior motives. Okay, sometimes life sucks. But you do what you can to make yourself happy, make yourself fulfilled. So that when you wake up in the morning, oh man, I can't wait to do such and such. You're not expecting your wife to become all intimate. You're not desiring that so much because it's not going to happen. You're not going to hug her when you walk past her in the kitchen because first of all, I don't feel that way about her anymore. And secondly, it's not going to produce anything. Maybe one day in the future, it will be like that. But right now, live your marriage as it really is. And always work to make it better by first making you better for you. and then perhaps things can change for your marriage. So that's to help or to encourage you guys. Don't give up. Work on you. Your life is still valuable on this planet. If your wife doesn't appreciate it, okay. But there's probably a lot of other people that will, like your job, and so forth. All right. Protect yourself, because infidelity can cause a lot of problems that you don't want. All right. All right. Well, I hope this does help you. I hope it does encourage you. Feel free to leave comments of your thoughts, anything you said, even if you disagree. I want to hear from you. Be respectful, because if you're not, I'm not going to post your comment. All right. All right. Well, God bless you. And just go ahead and make your life a happy one, with or without your wife.